I have my favorite pie iron recipes for lunch and dinner that you can cook up right over the campfire. We're going to ditch the boring bread that's found in most standard pie iron recipes and instead use these variations, which I promise will make these little campfire sandwiches so much better. This is one of my favorite camp cooking tools, and I love it because they act like mini ovens. Anything that you could cook in the oven, you could cook in a pie iron over coals or the campfire. And even better, picky kids or adults get to make their own version, so they can't really complain about the stuff that's in it because they put the stuff in there. You can use a pie iron in campfire coals. You can also use them on a grate elevated over a larger campfire, and it also works to put charcoal and then put the pie irons right on top. All right, here are my favorite lunch and dinner recipes that you can cook up in a pie iron. Before we get started, it's important to grease your pie iron well. I like using cooking spray because it also gets along the edges where food loves to stick. One way to make sure nothing sticks is to wrap your pie iron in aluminum foil. This makes cleanup a breeze, but there have been studies that say aluminum can leach into food at high temperatures, so just consider that. Once you use your pie iron enough, it'll develop a nice seasoning layer and far less will stick to it. All right, now let's get cooking. First up are pulled pork cornbread sandwiches. You're going to prepare a box of cornbread using eggs and milk following the directions on the box, and then add a can of green chilies. After greasing your pie iron, add a little less than a quarter cup to the bottom. Top with cooked pulled pork, add a slice of pepper jack cheese, and then top with a little less than a quarter cup of the mix again. Close up and cook over the campfire for about 20 minutes, flipping halfway through, and you've got a full meal wrapped up in one little cornbread sandwich. This next recipe is a family favorite, individual chicken pot pies. Now the secret here is to use refrigerated pie crust. Unfortunately, there's no way to cut the dough well to fit into your pie irons, but you can push the dough together to form those squares and it will all cook up nicely together. We're going to layer in cream of chicken soup with some mixed vegetables, cooked chicken, and more cream of chicken soup. Now, obviously, you can make this super easy by just using canned condensed soup and canned mixed vegetables. Or you can also bring your own homemade cream of chicken, and that makes it even better. A quick note on the vegetables, you do want to make sure they're already cooked because the only thing we're doing here is really just heating it all up and crisping up the pie crust. Adding butter to the outside of the pie crust will make it toast up nicely. Cook it over the campfire for about 15 to 20 minutes until everything is heated through. Now, there are lots of ways to make tacos while camping, and although this one may not be the easiest, it could be the most fun because everyone gets to make their own. All we'll do here is put a tortilla in the bottom. Flour tortillas fold up a little nicer than the corn ones, but either one will work. Fill it with beans and meat and cheese, and you can also add some of your toppings on the inside as long as you're okay with them getting hot. It will crisp up over the campfire and everyone will love them because you can never go wrong with tacos. These pie iron pizzas are another one of my family's favorites because who doesn't love making their own little pizza with the perfect toppings inside? Cut refrigerated pizza dough into 4 pieces. Each quarter is going to end up being enough crust for one pie iron pizza. Take that fourth and cut it in half and stretch out one of those halves. This is going to be the bottom crust of your pizza. Then add some sauce, some cheese, and any toppings you'd like. And then stretch out that other piece of dough and add it on top, trying to form together the dough to make a seam along the edges to keep everything inside. These need at least 20 minutes to cook over the campfire and sometimes a little more to be able to cook the dough all the way through. These are personally my favorite pie iron recipe and we make them on almost every camping trip we take. This last pie iron recipe does use bread, but it's definitely not your traditional sandwich. We're going to make chili cheese dog hobo pies. We're going to butter the outsides of the bread so it toasts up nicely and then add a slice of cheddar cheese inside. Now add some pre-cooked chili. Obviously, using a can makes it super easy, but I often just freeze our leftover chili and bring a small bag. It'll defrost in the cooler and then be ready to add to these sandwiches. Add sliced hot dogs and another piece of cheddar cheese and toast it over the campfire for about 15 minutes. You may end up needing a fork for this one, but it's good. Now, we don't only use pie irons for lunch and dinner, I also love using them for breakfast. In fact, it's my favorite way to cook breakfast in the morning. You can check out those recipes linked above.